Right, I just want to tell you a little bit of background to Revelation TV, and especially as it's our birthday coming up today. So 19 years been on the air. How did it all begin? Well, I've got to be honest, that I was, as many of you know, our regular viewers, that I was very reluctant to start Revelation TV. I always thought there was somebody better that can do it because of I know my own inadequacies, still got them, but God's been very gracious, and here I am, 19 years later. But this staircase, why am I sitting on it? Because I had one of those Gideon moments, you know, where you put out a fleece to God. Is this really you? Do you want me really to do this? And what happened was, about 6 months prior to having to apply for an Ofcom license, which is what you have to do in order to broadcast on the air and get their approval. It's a government body, and they just want to vet you, make sure you're not going to be saying things that you shouldn't be saying, and that you are a sensible being, and you also going to be compliant with the Ofcom regulations. Well, one of the things that I found myself in this situation was I didn't have the money to actually apply for the license. I think in those days it was about £1,500, and my excuse to the Lord was, well, you know, I don't have £1,500 to apply for the license even, so, you know, not me, choose someone else, Lord, and to do this, start Revelation TV. Anyway, so what happened, about 6 months prior to this date, somebody had very kindly offered to send me a cheque for £1,500 and to donate, because I was already showing programs that I had recorded on London TV, which is a sort of a network where Christians could actually buy time, and I was buying time, and that's why I didn't have enough money left to do the things which I thought God wanted me to do. And so I put a fleece out, and it was this: if that person who'd promised to send me £1,500, then if that cheque was in the mail, and I was sitting here on this step in 2002, so if that cheque is in the mail right there, then I'll apply for the license. Now, I thought I was being very safe because the guy that was going to send that £1,500 6 months ago never showed up. So I said, I'm really thinking very confidently that that check's not going to be in the mail, right? So I'm sitting here, so okay, yeah, if the mail has got that check in it, I'll apply for the Ofcom license. So go over to the mail. Can you believe it? That check is in the mail. Okay, it wasn't for £1,500, it was for £1,000, which was still pretty good. And it was enough for me to say, okay, I get it. But that's not the only fleece that I put out. I put out several fleeces, and I'm just going to tell that story as we go through the various stages of it. So this is an interesting story as well, what happened here, because I was watching Christian television, or Christians on television. That was way before Revelation TV. It was in the late 90s as well that they started to broadcast. And it was like, okay, got the television on, and I'm trying to say to the Lord, well, you know, not me, somebody else, please, start Revelation TV. And this is another one of those examples of how God actually spoke to me. And I know it sounds a bit super spiritual, but, you know, it was just, the reality is He did. And I can explain a bit more about that at another time. But here I was watching a preacher on the screen. He was on the stage, or, you know, speaking at church, and he was walking up and down as you do. Well, I thought you do. I called it the peacock walk, and he was so good with the scriptures, delivering the scriptures and walking this peacock walk backwards and forwards, and the way that you do it, and delivering to the audience or to the people in the church. And I'm saying, Lord, now this is a good example. He's the one to choose to do Revelation TV and start the channel, because he walks well. I can't walk like that. And he talks well. I can't talk well. I can't put two sentences together. And also, he knows his scriptures. He's really good. And the Lord spoke to me and he said, Howard, can you see his heart? And I said, no. He said, I can. And I was like, wow. He said, I want you to do it. That was powerful. But that was another one of those Gideon moments where I was putting out a fleece, and I was putting the fleece out in the opposite. This is the reason, Lord, why you shouldn't choose me, because I can't do, and I can't walk, and I can't say, and I can't look like that man, that preacher. There's another part to the story, and it goes something like this. Well, you know, I was so fed up with being back in England as well that I wanted to go back to live in America. And I'll say I, because Leslie will go anywhere with me, bless her heart. And our friends in America who built one of our music studios, he and his wife had moved up from Florida, where we were living, up to the Carolinas. And of course, that's a beautiful country. And he had something like about 50 acres. And it is beautiful. I mean, this, my friend Bill and his wife made this place out of nothing. So as you can see the beauty of this land, and they put in there all of the scenery that you're looking at, the lakes they put in as well. It's just magnificent, and the house itself is magnificent. Anyways, let me just tell you what was going through my mind at that time. And again, this was before Revelation TV launched. This was the build-up. I'd just heard the news that we'd got the license. I think it was Yemi who called me from somewhere else in America. He was visiting, and he said, oh, hallelujah, we got the license, you know, the Ofcom license, and we can start broadcasting. Now I'm going, oh, really? Okay, I was hoping that Ofcom would have ruled against me, because at that time you had to fill in a form when you were applying for the license. And it was like, they were saying things like, are you going to be talking about the Middle East? Are you going to be talking about Israel, for example, the Palestinians and all of this? And if you are, you're not allowed to. And so I put, yes, that's exactly what we will be talking about, because it's based on our faith. Or traditionally, Christianity, its roots are based in Judaism. And of course, we'll be talking about those important parts of the Bible, which involves Israel. So anyway, thinking that they would have turned me down, they still hadn't. And they'd given and awarded their license, the Ofcom license, to us, so I could start Revelation TV. I'm still in doubt. I am really in doubt, because coming up with all the excuses, the fleece again. So I had another fleece in the Carolinas. It's so beautiful. And also, because they're in the middle of nowhere, if you can imagine, at night, there's no light pollution. So when you look up into the sky, you're seeing magnificent, you know, the universe as much as we could see from the earth. And I just said to the Lord, I said, really, 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 give me a sign, and yet another sign that you want me to start Revelation TV. And I'm looking up at the sky. And I was just looking up, and I said, give me a sign, mate, give me a sign, looking up. Whew. This meteorite goes flying past. And I go, yeah, oh, yeah. Can you do that again? If that's really you, Lord, can you do that again? You know, once is good enough, but okay, bang, it goes again. So I stand there for another 20 minutes, because I want to make sure this isn't a meteorite night. You know, you could be just seeing meteorites all night. But it was almost as an answer to my question, you know, please give me another sign. And I'm looking up at the heavens. So I'm going, oh, well, okay. But the interesting thing is too, and it's just come back to mind, and that is, I'd wanted to go back to America, as I just said, and to live there again. And Bill Barber, my friend, actually had taken me to, or arranged for me to go and see an immigration lawyer, because I obviously was there on a different visa the last time we lived in America, B2 visa, which is a business visa. And now I needed another visa, or I needed to get a green card at last. So he fixed it up so I would go, and I think it was into Charlotte, I think it was called, somewhere like that. And it was an opportunity for me to meet the lawyer, so we could move back to America. So I didn't want to start Revelation TV. It was another good excuse not to start Revelation TV, because I wanted to be living in America. And you can see the beauty of my friend's home for that whole estate. I think it's about 35, maybe 50 acres. And you can see all the beautiful ponds, the lakes, the greenery. I think they had horses there as well, paddocks, you know, and all the wonderful trees and growth and everything else. And I'm going, we could have lived there for the cost of an apartment where we are in England. The cost of an apartment gets you 35 acres with all of that in North Carolina. So I was just thinking, yeah, that's me. That's where I want to go, spend the rest of my life in that lovely sunny place. But you know, when the Lord directs us to do what He wants us to do, then we have a choice. We're either obedient and go along with it and give up the things which, the comforts of this life. But you know, because we have, if you like, a better life to look forward to, what we give up now actually means nothing in eternity. You know, we're talking 70, 80 years may I be living to, when we've got forever in paradise. In that new heaven, new earth, we have forever, thousands, untold millennium. So what we give up now isn't that important. So yeah, we could have been in the Carolinas, we could have had all that beautiful scenery that you can see, and we could be living there. But now I see what God has done with Revelation TV over the last 19 years. When I read the emails or hear the phone calls or get letters from the viewers, it is so rewarding, because I know that without Revelation TV reaching the people in a different way, and that was another thing the Lord actually said to me through Sharon Stone, a prophecy, and it was like the Lord was saying through her that I can put my net down where others can't. And using fishermen's terms, as we know, the great fishers of men were the early disciples. They were fishermen. And the Lord, until He actually said, why don't you try that side of the boat, He knew where the fish were. And they brought the fish in. God somehow uses me to actually fish where the people are that other people haven't been able to reach. So maybe I'm getting the deeper ones, the ones that are not so easy to catch, the ones at the bottom of the sea. But I want to be able to do that. I love to hear the stories and the accounts of people actually coming to the Lord, giving their life, dedicating themselves, changing their ways, and such beautiful people that you all are. We all need a little bit of God's love in our lives. And I just thank Him that we are 19 years old today. And I just appreciate it very much that you've stood with us all these years. Some of you have just joined us, and that's great, but there are many of you that have been there since day one. And I just want to say a big thank you to you as usual, but also just to know that we're going to be facing difficult times in the future, and somehow Revelation TV needs to keep going for those times, so that we're together as a church without walls and without all the, if you like, the trappings. We don't necessarily, look, I'm sitting in our back garden. We don't need, I shouldn't say that, big studios and everything else, but we've got them, and there must be a really good reason for that. And we'll see God's will unfold and His purposes come to light. But I'm in awe. And when I look back at the things that have happened, the putting the fleeces out and everything else, and I feel a bit guilty that God, I've given Him a bit more of a hard time than usual, perhaps, and being the reluctant prophet in that sense. But I just thank Him. Thank you, Lord. Thank you.